What is up, my buttery biscuits? Y'all, I am drinking a Celsius powder form today, so y'all know what that means. Get ready to click slow down on your videos, because y'all know I'm about to talk at the speed of light. As you guys can tell by the title of today's video, we're going to be talking about Jeffree Star's exposure, because he did make an update to the situation. Honestly, I did see this a few days ago now. However, I was trying to give it some time because he said that he was going to make a part 2, and then he made a part 2 saying that he's not going to make a part 2. So I was like, you know what, let's just go ahead and talk about this. I'm going to be playing parts of his TikTok within today's video because he did make a follow-up to it, and I just have to say, like, his whole TikTok was very long, very vague, and just really bizarre. Honestly, if I'm keeping it real with you guys, I feel like this guy is very different, I guess we can say. We'll go ahead and put it in nice terms like that, because honestly, I'm watching him and I'm just keeping it real with you guys. I'm like, okay, clearly he's a clout chaser. Clearly, he's looking to, like, get some business out of this. As you guys know, or if you guys did not know, in my previous video where I said Jeffree Star gets exposed, I said within there, I was like, why is he hashtagging the name of his floor business? Like, this just seems a little bit much. Obviously, if you have something to say about Jeffree Star and you're over here hashtagging the name of your floor business, clearly that's going to come across as in you're trying to get some business or you're trying to clout chase. Do you know what I mean? Honestly, y'all, this is just my opinion. This is just my speculation. Obviously, I will be playing some, you know, clips from his TikTok. I feel like he was flown out to Jeffree Star's house to hook up with him. And I think that as soon as he was there, he kind of, like, I don't know, either got a little grossed out or something. You guys can obviously just tell by the wording within his TikTok. I'm like, so clearly you were over there about to hook up with Jeffree and you kind of got over it. Maybe you got creeped out. Maybe you were like, you know what, I'm just not for this, and just obviously decided to take advantage of the situation. I do have to say though, before jumping into this video, don't worry, I will give you guys a little bit of context so that way you guys don't have to go back to that video. I do have to say though, a lot of people were saying, you know what, maybe Jeffree Star set this whole thing up so that way he can sell his new Scorpio collection. I don't think that is the case though, because Jeffree Star has not commented on it. He hasn't really mentioned it. And I do feel like if he was going to be trying to capitalize on the situation, I think that he would have made a TikTok about it, or like a IG story, something. Do you know what I mean? It seems like he's just kind of sweeping it under the rug. So I don't really think that he's trying to capitalize on it, in my personal opinion. I think this guy is trying to capitalize on it. I just feel like it's really weird that you're going to be exposing Jeffree Star, but then you're hashtagging the name of your floor business. I'm like, clearly that looks a little bit wrong. You know what I mean? So we're going to be talking about that within today's video. Also, I do want to give you guys a little bit of a life update before jumping into this video. So just fast forward if you guys do not care for the life update. As you guys know, I told you before that I was going to school to learn how to microblade. I'm going to put pictures right here because I just did my very first one on my best friend. And honestly, I'm going to keep it real with you guys. I was like super nervous for the very first one because you're like literally cutting into the skin. Obviously, you have the instructor supervision and she's like standing over you and guiding you and everything like that. But y'all, this is my first time like ever like tattooing somebody. Do you know what I mean? And especially this is such a, I don't know, it's not like, as honestly at first it was a little bit scary because I was like, okay, we're cutting into skin here. And sometimes on some strokes, on some hair strokes, you do see a little bit of blood. And y'all, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, at first I got a little bit wheezy. I was like, whoa, y'all, I am such a weenie. For me being such a big guy, like I am just really a big weenie. Every single time I gotta, like, you know, get oh my gosh, blood drawn, I get really lightheaded. I don't know why I'm like such a baby like that. So when I started seeing blood for the first time, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I getting a little bit wheezy, you know? But then I got over it and I feel like I did really, really good. And I got super excited because I was like, y'all, I'm sorry, not trying to toot my own horn here, but for like my very first time, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm super, super excited for this. Anyway, so I just wanted to update you guys on that because as you guys know, I told you I was, you know, gonna be starting and I'm like super, super excited. I have like 10 more friends literally to do, and then I'm gonna start feeling comfortable like charging people and actually like making a little bit of a business out of it. Do you know what I mean? I was like, you know what, let me do 10 people first so that way I can get really, really comfortable with it and like learn different face shapes and different skin textures and stuff like that. I will be honest though, I am kind of scared to do more mature skin clients because they have more thin skin. So I'm like, yeah, I feel like that one's gonna be a little bit challenging for me because obviously you do run the risk of like cutting a little bit too deep, and I'm like, don't want to do that. But anyways, just wanted to give you guys that little bit of an update because I was super excited for that. Oh, also too, do not forget to check out my little mini podcast. I had my homegirl Jelly on there, and y'all, I just feel like, okay, so I told you guys for a while now we're gonna start our own podcast pretty soon. I'm gonna create a whole separate channel. I wanted to do it on here, but I just feel like it's better to just do a whole separate channel. So I will be making the Ramble podcast channel coming up pretty soon. Well, actually I already have it already set up and ready to go, but like, I don't know, I'll make it available so so that way you guys can subscribe pretty soon. I'm super excited for that. But in the meantime, she is going to be here on this channel every Sunday, just kind of like warming her up to the whole filming thing because she is super new to this. She's never been on camera before, so just so you guys know. Anyways, let me shut up. Let's go ahead and get in this. Make sure you guys give this video a big thumbs up. I would appreciate that, and let's get into it. Y'all, do not pay attention to my wrinkly shirt. This is like super wrinkly, and I don't understand because it's so tight on me that I'm like, why isn't it stretching out the wrinkles? I don't get it. Luckily, you guys can't see my boobs because honestly, it's so tight on my boobs right now. Like, it's embarrassing. But I'm like, oh, I gotta do laundry, and this is like the only clean shirt that I have. Honestly, I want to get a mastectomy. The other day, I had made a comment to my friend. I was like, oh, I want to get a mastectomy so bad. And she's like, you mean vasectomy? And I was like, girl, who am I getting pregnant? Why would I want to get a vasectomy? How does that make any sense? No, I want my boobs chopped off. I literally can't stand them. I hate them. It's so crazy that I'm like, why is my stomach smaller than my boobs? Whenever I wear a shirt, y'all, literally my boobs are like protruding out further than my stomach. Normally it's the other way around, but not for me. You know what's really crazy too is when I was very first coming out, like, I don't know if you guys can relate to this or if you guys know parents like this. First, this is very old school, by the way. I came out like 17 years ago. My mom was like under this impression that when I came out that I like wanted to be a girl, and I was like, girl, little do you know that I want to get my boobs chopped off. That's like my biggest insecurity. I literally hate them. Anyways, let me give you guys a little bit of context before we get into this new update. So just in case you guys didn't check out that previous video or don't want to go back to that video, there was this man who does epoxy flooring. Honestly, y'all, I can't even afford a floor, period. So I'm like, I don't even know what an epoxy floor is. I think it's like this mixture of stuff that, like, honestly, I don't even know. I saw him mixing it up. It looks really nice. And I do have to say, like, if I was rich and I had a nice garage, I would like it in my garage floor. I feel like, ooh, cars would look really nice on like this marble looking, like, you know, mixture of paint underneath some sealant or something like that. I don't really know what it is. But this guy basically was flown out to Jeffree Star's house to apparently like do a quote or a consultation for Jeffree Star's flooring. But things are very vague. Obviously, there was a lot of people speculating that Jeffree Star had flown him out because he wanted to hook up with him. When I do play the update of this guy's video, I do have to say, in my opinion, in my speculation, it 100% does seem like Jeffree Star was flying him out to hook up with him. Especially the way the guy, like some of the things that he was saying, y'all, I was like, oh, so you were going over there to like low-key hook up with Jeffree Star, but then maybe you just got cold feet and got over it and then you were putting him on blast. I'm just like, what? This whole thing is really weird. If you guys did not see the previous video, he's walking around Jeffree Star's backyard in just socks. He's walking in his like shower and everything. I'm like, this is really weird. It was so bizarre. Honestly, I was like, this is very strange. But the whole reason why I knew and everyone else knew that there was like something on the DL here is because he was obviously walking around Jeffree Star's house without his security. And as you guys know, Jeffree Star always has the security with him. So I'm like, why wasn't his security there? Obviously, he felt comfortable with this guy to have him over there with no security. And if you guys did not see in that previous video, as soon as the guy was leaving, Jeffree Star even swatted at him. And I do have to say this, and I didn't say in my previous video, but when I was editing it, I was like, you know what? I don't know, for some reason, it kind of made me sad. Like, if you guys saw the look on Jeffree Star's face, like, he looked so sad. Like, he looked like, I don't know, like, he looked like he just got his heart broken, to be honest with you. Like, this guy, like, completely flipped on him, you know? But I do have to say this guy, in my personal opinion, is an opportunist. I definitely think that he saw Jeffree Star having millions of followers. He saw Jeffree Star as a celebrity, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna go to this guy's house, and even though he's flirting with me, I'm gonna play along because I want to sell him a floor. And maybe he was flirting back with Jeffree Star in the DMs, and then maybe as soon as things came down to it, he was like, whoa, I don't want to hook up with a guy, so let me not do this. Do you know what I mean? I do think it's a very unfortunate situation, but I do have to say, I feel like this guy he's very different. Like, he's really weird, honestly. Like, watching his TikTok, I was like, oh, okay, like, are you high right now? Or like, what's going on? Because it's like, just hurry up and get to the point and say what you gotta say. I feel like he's being very vague, but I feel like he is dragging this out to get some type of business from this, because obviously he does have his businesses tagged, and then he pushed hashtag epoxy image, which is like the name of his flooring business. And I'm like, if you were looking to like expose somebody as being like a creep or something, you're not gonna be advertising your business. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, clearly Jeffree Star flew this guy out there to hook up with him on the low, and maybe he did also want to purchase a floor too, but then it's kind of like this guy got into things and he was like, you know what, like, no, I'm not comfortable with this after all. I do have to say one thing though, y'all. I literally cackled so damn loud because he called Jeffree Star an albino salamander in his video. I was like, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and play the clip right here. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I am going to only play a little piece of it because it is very long, like really long. And I'm like, if I'm being quite honest with you, I'm like, you're not really getting to any points here. And then he says that he's gonna make a part 2, and then I'm not even gonna play the part 2 because in the part 2 he just says this is getting too long and I'm over it. You guys are gonna believe what you want to believe anyways. And it's like, okay, clearly everyone's putting two and two together here, and it seems like you were leading on Jeffree Star because obviously you made it seem like you were going to go over there to hook up with him, and then as soon as things came down to it, you were like, nah, I'm definitely not going to do this, you know? And then on top of that, too, he was making a comment, too, about basically getting his DS and saying that he needs at least a Hellcat, which I think a Hellcat is kind of like a type of Charger, correct me if I'm wrong, or some type of car. And I'm like, okay, you're making this comment over here about like getting a car to get your DS, and it's like, come on here. Anyways, go ahead and check out this clip right here.
I'll be real with you. I fucking played it. Don't hit the player, hit the game, dude. Like, if someone hits you up, celebrity, of course you're gonna ride with it. Anyways, so we're DMing, whatever, fucking talking, it's going good. And then he gives me his number. I text him, and then we're just chopping it up. He looks like an albino salamander or something, dude. It's weird. He's like flaky. I don't know. Basically, my intentions were to do the floor, and if he wanted to do what I thought he wanted to do, I was just gonna fucking be like, well, I'm not doing it for free. Shit. I would need at least a Hellcat.
I'm sorry, y'all, but as you guys can see from right there, you guys can kind of piece two and two together here to see that he may have been flirting back with Jeffree Star. I would love to see these DMs. Honestly, I'm just so damn nosy that I'm like, I want to see what happened in the DMs because I'm like, okay, this fool definitely was flirting back with Jeffree Star. I don't think Jeffree Star is just going to fly him out there and be flirting with him and then obviously not get anything out of it. Do you know what I mean? And on top of that, too, some of the sexual comments that he was making within his TikTok, I'm like, clearly there was some talk of some type of sexual activity going on, so why are you going there underneath the impression of like trying to sell a floor and then saying, oh, this guy's weird, but then you're over here flirting back with him? Because you wouldn't be making these comments about, you know, getting your DS, and on top of that, like, oh, if I was gonna put my inside of his booty hole, then obviously I need at least a Hellcat. And it's like, okay, so you're literally openly saying here that you're like gay for pay. So what is it? Do you know what I mean? I'm so sorry, but in my personal opinion, I feel like this guy is 100% clout chasing. I do think, in my personal opinion, I do think that Jeffree Star should have kind of hopped on the bandwagon and seen that this was blowing up on TikTok. So many other drama videos on TikTok were making videos about it, and their videos were blowing up. And I'm like, Jeffree Star should have made a comment talking about it, because I think that he would have got a lot of views out of it, and I think that that would have helped sell his new collection. But he hasn't made a comment about it. But that is pretty much it. I am so curious to know what your guys' opinions are, because obviously before, as I had said, I was like, okay, maybe this guy was really going there to sell a floor, and maybe Jeffree Star was like, oh, you know what, he's kind of cute, like, let me try to get at him, and creeped him out. But now that we know a little bit more of the story here, don't you guys think that this guy obviously was flirting back with Jeffree Star and then going over there under the impression of like, okay, I'm gonna flirt with him, but I'm gonna try to sell him a floor? Do you know what I mean? Like, it kind of came across as opportunist, at least to me. But anyways, make sure you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions about everything. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, Girl Scout.